Have you heard about the new law in Oklahoma? It requires public schools to include the Ten Commandments and the Bible in their curriculum. Does that make you uncomfortable even a little bit? Now let me ask you the same question in a slightly different way. Are you uncomfortable with 5th through 10th graders learning about ideas and the worldview that birthed the United States of America? See, this law is not about forcing Christianity on children, it's about teaching them the whole truth about American history. You see, we've been censoring major historical narratives and facts and condemning our children to ignorance for too long, simply because some folks don't understand what Thomas Jefferson meant by separation of church and state. You see, you cannot adequately teach children about the 4th of July and the Declaration of Independence if you don't teach them about the core beliefs of those who signed the Declaration of Independence, half of whom were ministers. You see, if you omit the role of the Bible and the Ten Commandments in the shaping of the American Republic, you're not teaching them the whole truth. You're teaching them a half truth, often referred to as lying. You're not teaching them history, you're teaching them propaganda. You see, propagandists seek to deceive by omitting inconvenient facts in order to manipulate. Good historians, on the other hand, seek to bring all the pertinent facts to life in order to promote understanding. It'd be like teaching the French Revolution but never mentioning Madame Guillotine. It'd be like teaching about World War II but never talking about Hitler and the Nazis. It'd be like teaching black history in America without ever alluding to slavery. You see, those would be huge omissions. They would be dishonest omissions. If by the end of this podcast you still think you should keep the whole truth from our children, I would love to know why. This is Brad Bright. Welcome to the God is Issue podcast, where I show how God is the issue in every issue. Now, this week we celebrate the 4th of July, Independence Day. Not only were there 27 signers of the Declaration of Independence who were ministers of the gospel, but many of our founders regarded July 4th as a sacred day, a holy day. John Quincy Adams, the 6th President of the United States, believed it should be a religious holiday, just like Christmas. Celebrating God's deliverance of the American colonies from tyranny, just like the Jews celebrate Passover. Did you know that the model of the Revolutionary War was no king but King Jesus? If you attended public school, you probably never heard that, did you? Now, in light of that, I want to ask a question which has been intensely debated for years. Was America founded as a Christian nation? What do you think? You know what I think? I think it's the wrong question. You see, if you ask the question, was America founded as a Christian nation, the answer must be no. However, if you ask the question, was America a Christian nation when it was founded? The answer is an emphatic yes. The Founding Fathers did not give us a Christian nation because America was already Christian. The overwhelming majority of Americans self-identified as Christian. I've seen estimates of up to 99%. Now, most Americans, in some form or another, believed in the God of the Bible. In that sense, America was truly a Christian nation, not because it had a Christian government, but because its citizens were almost entirely Christian, albeit flawed, as evidenced by their initial tolerance of slavery. But alleging that the United States was not a Christian nation would be like saying that Saudi Arabia is not a Muslim nation because it is not a Muslim theocracy, or like saying Thailand is not a Buddhist nation because it is not a Buddhist theocracy, or that saying Israel is not a Jewish nation because it's not a Jewish theocracy. That'd be a bunch of crock, and we all know it. The Founding Fathers did not give us a theocracy which imposed Christian behavior and belief on the masses. Instead, they gave us a republic where Christianity could freely thrive and grow. They gave us a representative government where Christians could freely choose other Christians to be their leaders. And they did. You see, America was not a Christian nation by fiat. It was a Christian nation because its citizens and leaders were Christian by choice. As John Jay, our first Supreme Court Chief Justice said, he said, "Providence has given to our people the choice of their rulers. And it is the duty as well as the privilege and interest of our Christian nation to select and prefer Christians for their rulers." Those were the words of our first Supreme Court Chief Justice. And by the way, my wife Kathy is one of his descendants. But not only were American citizens overwhelmingly Christian, The founders gave us a government based on a Christian view of the world. As the Declaration of Independence states, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You see, they did not give us a Christian theocracy. Rather, they gave us a government built on Christian doctrine as opposed to humanist doctrine like the French Revolution or atheist doctrine like the Cultural Revolution in China. You see, they believed that all men and women are equal because the Creator created us equal. They clearly acknowledged that the Creator was the source of human rights, which included equality, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, let me digress here for a moment to talk about a horribly misunderstood term, the pursuit of happiness. By this, the founding fathers did not mean the right to pursue feeling good. They meant the right to pursue being good. You see, they believed that good life was the result of developing good character. They were not full-on narcissists like we are today. That's why they regularly wrote about virtue, temperance, prudence, moderation, frugality, and industry. That's why Benjamin Franklin compiled his list of 13 virtues. That's why Thomas Jefferson composed his 12 canons of conduct in life. That's why Franklin attributed his happiness to his evenness of temper. You see, to the founding fathers, the pursuit of happiness meant the pursuit of virtue, of good character. Now, if you want to read more on the subject, I recommend the book Pursuit of Happiness by Jeffrey Rosen. Now, likewise, the founders saw liberty as the freedom to make wise choices, not as freedom to be a self-centered narcissist. For the founders, liberty was both a right and a responsibility. You see, they gave us government with separation of powers because of mankind's inherent corruptible nature, which they learned about from the Bible. They believed all people were born with a fallen nature, unlike humanists and Marxists, who believe that people are born basically morally neutral or good and become good or bad based on their environment. Now, this is why our founding fathers decentralized government power between the executive, legislative, and judicial branches because of man's sin nature. They gave us a republic based on the principles embedded in the Christian faith. The only issue today is, can we keep it, as Benjamin Franklin once said? So as you celebrate the 4th of July this year, pray for America. We were once a Christian nation because Americans were Christians, not because we had a Christian government. And we could become like that again. If you like the idea of living in a Christian nation once again, pray for revival. That's the only way to get there. And in the meantime, vote for competent, God-fearing men and women wherever you can. That is also part of your Christian duty. This is Brad Bright. Thanks for joining me today. As always, if you found this podcast helpful, please like and subscribe. And when subscribing, don't forget to click on the bell so you'll be notified whenever I publish a new podcast. God bless. And God bless America as we celebrate the grand experiment called the United States of America, which our Christian forebears gave us.